Hello everyone, I'm Preeti from Zoho Books team. It gives me a great pleasure to meet everyone in this webinar. As you all know, today's webinar would be on the banking and connected banking features of Zoho Books. Let us quickly run into the agenda of today's webinar. So the agenda for today's webinar would be, we'll be discussing on the banking module of Zoho Books, the features that are listed in the banking module, their advantages, followed by the connected banking features of Zoho Books, and in the end, we'll have a question answer session. So before we begin with the webinar, let me ask you a question. Why do we need a banking module in an accounting software? And what would be the advantage if a bank account is added in an accounting software? So in Zoho Books, you can add your bank accounts, you can bring in your bank statements, and you can match and categorize your transactions to ensure that your bank transactions and Zoho Books transactions are in order. Later, you can also perform a reconciliation to ensure that your accounts are getting tallied. So let us quickly look into how a bank account can be added in Zoho Books. So all you have to do is you can go to the Zoho Books, click banking in the left corner of the screen, click add bank or credit card. First we'll begin with how an account can be added manually. You can click add manually. If it's a bank account, you can click bank, enter the bank name. You can choose the currency that is suitable and other details required and then hit save. If it's a credit card, you can click add bank or credit card again, click add manually, choose the account type as credit card, enter the account name and currency, and if there are any other details that has to be filled up, you can fill the same and hit save. Once the account is added, the same will be listed under the active accounts. Now the bank account is added. What can be done next? That is to bring in your bank statements. So Zoho Books allows you to bring your bank statement using various formats. The first thing we'll be discussing is importing a PDF statement. All you have to do is click import statement, choose the file from your desktop, you can select the respective bank account, you can agree to the terms and conditions and hit import. Now your statement will be imported into Zoho Books within few minutes. You can just wait for some time until these statements are imported. Once the statements are successfully imported, you will get a notification on the same. So now the statements are imported, you can see a notification regarding the same. Once all your bank statements are successfully imported into Zoho Books, you will get a notification again to refresh your Zoho Books. You can hit a refresh of your Zoho Books. Now you see all the bank statements are successfully imported into your bank account. Now what if you want to import your bank statement in other formats? So Zoho Books allows you to import statement in other formats as well. For example, you can import your statement as a CSV or a TSV file. All you have to do is get your data ready as per the sample format and then import the same into Zoho Books. So now we have imported the bank statement in PDFs and other supported formats. Now what if I feel that this involves a lot of manual work? So Zoho Books provides an additional feature which is auto forwarding of your bank statements. So let me explain what is auto forwarding. So auto forwarding is nothing but whenever your bank sends the bank statement on a periodic basis to your mailbox, the same will be auto forwarded to your Zoho Books. And this can be done by setting up a simple filter in your mailbox. To verify the steps, you can go to the Documents module of Zoho Books, click Bank Statements, and you can see the page tips that are provided here. So based on your mail service provider, you can verify the steps and set the same in your mail service provider. So to which mail this data will be auto forwarded? As you can see, this is the mail ID which you will have to configure to auto forward your bank statements. Now let us consider that I have set up all these filters in my mailbox and a statement is also sent from my bank end. So now how it can be imported into your particular bank account? So you see in the banking module, in the right side of your screen, you find the bank statements. If you click that, you will find an option to add it to the bank account. So you'll have to hit add to bank, select the account to which you want to import this bank statement, agree to the terms and conditions, and also select the respective bank account and hit import. So once the file is ready, the same will be imported into your Zoho Books as we have seen before. So far, we have seen how a bank account can be added, how it can be imported in various ways. Let's say all this process involves a manual work from your end. From the user end, you'll have to do certain configurations to import it and bring in your transactions. So Zoho Books provides an additional feature, an interesting feature as well, so which is bringing in your bank statements automatically from your bank end with the help of a service provider. So how a bank account can be added for automatically fetching your feeds. So for that, you can navigate to the banking module, click add bank or credit card, hit connect now. You will have to read the terms and conditions and accept it and click proceed. So once you click proceed, you will find a search bar to search for your particular bank account. You'll have to search for the respective bank account. Choose the correct category which matches your particular bank account. You can enter your credentials. So once you enter the credentials, the same will be instantly validated. So now we have seen that once the credentials are entered, the same will be validated and you will be asked to enter the security code that have been sent to your registered email ID or phone number. So once the bank credentials are entered, you could see that the OTP has to be entered to authenticate this integration. And this is an added feature that has been provided from the bank end to provide an authenticity to this integration. So you can enter the OTP which has received to your end and hit submit. So once the credentials are validated, you can see that the account is being listed. You can verify the balances and then hit save and finish. And this will lead to adding the bank account to your Zoho Books. Now the bank account is added. What will be the next step? So you will have to set a start date from which you want to bring in your bank statement. And this start date should be within 90 days of your integration in Zoho Books. So I am setting up a date. So this date is within 90 days from today. So once the start date is being provided, you can go to the respective bank account and you can see that the feeds are being fetched. So once the feeds are successfully fetched, you will also receive a notification which you can verify it in the bell icon. Now, as you can see that bank statement is automatically added to bring in your statements. Now what can be the next step that can be done in a banking module? Which is, let's say, when you are importing your bank statement for the first time, you have selected a certain file. What by mistake if you have chosen the same file when you are importing it for the next time? In that case, you can manually exclude those transactions. So excluding is equivalent to deleting that transactions, but the data will still be available in the banking module. So you can verify the transactions. So if you want to exclude any particular transaction, you can hit the check boxes and you can click exclude. You can enter the reason for excluding. So once that is done, you can see that the transactions are excluded. To verify the excluded transaction, you can click the excluded button here. And you can see that these two transactions are manually excluded. Let's say you want the system to automatically recognize those duplicate transactions. In that case, you can configure this option where you can automatically exclude those transactions. All you have to click is click configure and you'll have to enable Zoho Books to find out the duplicate transactions. So once this is done, when I'm importing the same file next time, Zoho Books will automatically remove those transactions and list them under this automatically excluded if it matches the transaction and the description value. So now we can move into the next feature of the banking module, which is matching or categorizing a transaction. So why do we need to match the transaction? So matching or categorizing the transaction helps you to ensure whether your bank transactions in Zoho Books and your actual bank transactions are getting tallied. So whenever you click a withdrawal or a deposit value, if the transactions are already created in Zoho Books, the best matches will be reflected in the right side of your screen. All you have to do is hit match and the transactions will be matched. Let's say if the transaction is not created already in Zoho Books, what can be done? So in this case, you can manually categorize those transactions in the banking module directly. So categorizing a transaction will automatically create a transaction in Zoho Books. So to categorize a transaction, you can click the respective bank statement, click categorize manually. In this case, I am choosing it as an expense. I'll select an expense account. You can verify the details. If there is a vendor pertaining to this particular expense, you can select the same, or you can provide the GST treatment as out of scope. And once you verify the other details, you can hit save. Now this transaction is being categorized. So let's say you want to see the list of transactions which are matched or categorized. For the same, next to the uncategorized transaction tab, you see the all transactions tab. So all transaction tabs will have all your matched, categorized, and also the manually added transaction. Let's say I want to see only the categorized transaction. In that case, I'll hit the arrow mark. I'll click the categorize section and I can see the categorized transactions for this particular bank account. Now let me bring you an example. So consider that I am incurring a rent expense every month for a particular period of time, and the value is exactly the same. So I'll know what this expense is whenever I'm trying to match or categorize it. So since this transaction value or the description is quite similar every month, what if there is a feature to automate this process? So here Zoho Books provides a feature called transaction rules. So transaction rules are nothing but based on the description of the bank statement or the transaction value, the statements will be automatically categorized or recognized. Let me show you how the transaction rules can be created. So to create a transaction rule, you will have to hit the gear button next to import statement and click manage transaction rules. So you can create a new rule by clicking plus new rule. So in the creation page, you can see that you can provide a rule name. In this example, I have given it as a rent expense, and you can select to which category, that is whether it is for a deposit or a withdrawal. I have selected it as withdrawal. Now I'll have to select time when this transaction has to be categorized. That is, if all the criteria that I have provided should match, then a transaction should be created, or if any of the criteria matches, the transaction should be created. Here I have provided a description as rent and the amount equal to 57,000. Now I want this transaction to be categorized or recognized only when any of the criteria matches the same. I'll select a rent account, and also I'll select the category that is suitable for this transaction. If there is any particular vendor, you can select the same. As you can see here, there are two options, whether you want to recognize this transaction or categorize this transaction. So what is recognizing a transaction? So based on the transaction rule, in this example, we have set a transaction rule as rent expense should be equal to 57,000 and the description should have the rent. Now we can save this transaction rule. We can again navigate to the banking module, click the particular bank account. As you can see here, there is a recognize section separately to list out those transactions which are recognized based on the transaction rule. So I'll click the recognized option. So here you can see the description does not match my criteria, but I have set up a filter that even if one of the criteria matches, I want to recognize those transactions. So as you can see, the amount is equal to my criteria. So that transaction is being listed under the recognize section. So all I have to do is verify these details and click categorize manually and create the transaction. Now the transaction is recognized and categorized. What if you want to automatically categorize this transaction? All you have to do is you will have to again go to settings, manage transaction rules, edit the transaction rule that we have created, and we'll have to change the criteria, categorize it. Provide a confirmation that you want Zoho Books to automatically categorize those transactions and hit save. Now whenever the bank statements are imported and when the transaction meets the criteria, it will be automatically categorized in your bank account. So now we have seen how to categorize or match a transaction. Now again for an example, let's say you have incurred an expense for 1 rupees, but you have created a bill or an expense for 3 rupees in your Zoho Books. So as you can see, there will be a difference of 2 rupees for this particular transaction. So if you're not able to see the respective transaction in the banking module, you can click the filter icon here, search for the particular transaction either with the amount range or with the date range, or even if you can select it, search it with the particular vendor and hit search. So the actual expense that you have incurred is for only 1 rupees, which is reflected in your bank statement. But the transaction you have created is for 3 rupees. So I find a difference here of 2 rupees here. What can be done to match this transaction? So I'll click the select option here. Here you will see an option to create a new transaction for the pending value. All you have to do is click create new transaction. Choose what type of transaction this is. Select the account in which you want to reflect this transaction and the expense type, GST treatment if required, and hit save. Once the pending value is 0, you can match this particular transaction. As you can see here, I have 4 different 1 rupee expenses in my bank account. Now I want to match 3 of my bank statements with that one single expense which I have shown before. What can be done? So for this, there is an option as multi-select and match. You will have to enable this toggle button. Select the list of transactions which matches the particular expense or any entry that you have created in Zoho Books. You will have to hit match and the transactions will be matched in Zoho Books. So now we have seen the various ways of matching and categorizing the transactions. Now what can be done in the banking module, which is the ultimate motto of a banking module, is reconciliating your bank account. So to reconcile a bank account, you can go to the banking module, select the particular bank account and hit the gear button next to import statement and click reconcile account. And a reconciliation can be done for a particular period by clicking this initiate reconciliation. Select the period that you want to start this reconciliation and enter the closing balance as per your bank balance and hit start reconciliation. As you can see here, all types of transaction, that is manually added, categorized and matched transactions, will be reflecting in the screen for the particular date range. All you have to do is click the respective transactions which matches your bank balance. So when you find the difference amount is 0, you can reconcile it successfully. Or if you see any differences, you can also create a new transaction for the difference amount. Third amount is 0, you can hit reconcile and reconcile your accounts. Now what if you want to verify it and later reconcile it at a later period? In that case, you can click save and reconcile later. So that reconciliation will be listed as in progress and a successful reconciliation will be shown in the reconcile status. Now we have seen how to add a bank account, bringing in your bank statements, matching your bank statements and also reconciling a transaction. Now what if I want to make an account as inactive in Zoho Books, which is no longer in use? All you have to do is you'll have to go to the banking module again. You will find the drop down option here. Click the drop down option and click mark as inactive. Marking it as inactive will not delete any transactions, but the account will be in the inactive status. You can also verify the inactive bank accounts by clicking this drop down and click inactive accounts, and you can see the account which has been inactivated in Zoho Books. So apart from this, in banking module you will also have an option to verify the status of your particular bank account. As you can see in this bank account, you will have an option as dashboard account summary. So this dashboard provides you detail like when was the last manually import that happened in your bank account and what are the reconciliations that are run for this bank account, and if there are any transaction rules created, that can also be verified in this dashboard. So let's just see a quick recap of what has been discussed now. So we have seen how to add a bank account in Zoho Books, and we have seen how to bring in your bank statements via multiple formats like importing your PDF files or CSV files, also auto forwarding your bank statements, and also connecting your bank account to fetch the feeds automatically. We have also seen how the transactions can be matched or categorized in Zoho Books. We have even checked with the transaction rules, and finally we have seen how to reconcile a bank account in Zoho Books. So now we'll begin to the next part of this webinar, which we'll be discussing on the connected banking features that are available in Zoho Books and how banking and accounting can go hand in hand in an accounting software. So what is this connected banking feature and how is it different from the banking module we have discussed earlier? So connected banking feature is a very powerful and strong feature which is provided in Zoho Books. So this connected banking feature helps your accounting and banking go hand in hand. And how this can be done and what are the advantages that it gives you, we'll discuss in the upcoming slides. So this connected banking feature is available only for the Indian data center organizations. Let's assume that you are purchasing a product from 5 different vendors, and 5 different vendors will be giving you 5 different bills which you will have to initiate payment. Now, for an example, consider there is no connected banking feature in Zoho Books. Now, how will you initiate a payment to your vendor? You will have to log into your net banking end. You will have to initiate the payment to the vendor, and again you will have to come into Zoho Books, verify the bill details and manually record the payment. As you can see, this is very time consuming process and it involves a lot of manual work. So what if Zoho Books reduces this manual work and allows you to directly initiate payments from Zoho Books? Interesting, right? We'll discuss more about this in the upcoming slides. Zoho Books provides connected banking features right from 2018 for various banks. So the banks that are supported for connected banking features are Standard Chartered, ICICI Bank, Yes Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank and HSBC. Apart from initiating payments from Zoho Books, what are the other features that you can benefit from via this connected banking feature? So one will be you can see your live account balance, that is your bank balance directly in your banking module of Zoho Books. You don't have to log into your net banking end to verify the balance as and when it's required. The second important feature is, since your bank statements are now getting automatically fetched, the transactions are also initiated from Zoho Books. The reconciliation is much simpler now, providing you to reconcile it immediately. Now, we can see how a bank account can be added for your vendor to initiate the payments. All you have to do is navigate to the purchases module, click vendors. You can select the respective vendor for whom you want to add a bank detail. Click the more option next to new transaction in the right corner. You will find an option as add bank account. You will have to enter a bank name of your vendors. You can enter the account number of the particular vendor. So once the account number is added, you will also be asked to enter the IFSC code. So based on the IFSC code that you have provided, the details will be instantly validated and you can hit save to add the bank account. Now the bank account is added. You can view the list of banks that are added for this particular vendor in the overview section. You will have to scroll down and you will find a certain section is bank account details. You can see the list of banks that are added for this vendor, and in case if you want to edit any bank details, you can click the particular bank account. You will find a gear icon next to the bank account. Click the gear icon, click edit and make the necessary changes. The bank account is successfully added. So what can be done next? That is the integration part. To integrate a bank account, you can click settings in the right corner. Under online payment sections, you will find the vendor payment section. Hit vendor payments. First, we'll begin with the integration of HSBC Bank. You will have to click the setup now button which is provided for the HSBC Bank. So the PCI ID, client ID, all these details will be provided to you from the bank end. So now we have added the PCI ID, client ID and the client secret. Now you can see that you will also have to add the HSBC public key. So this will be a file which will be provided to you from the bank end. You will have to click choose file and select the HSBC public key that has been shared. And then you can also select a HSBC bank account which is already added in your Zoho Books, or you can click plus new and add the new account. Once the account is added, you can hit save and continue. You can enter the correct bank account name. The account number has to be exactly same. You can click save. So the next part of this integration is the secret PIN that you are providing. So the secret PIN is very essential for initiating payments from Zoho Books directly. So this will be a 6-digit PIN which you can set it as per your preference. Ensure that this secret PIN is being remembered because this is essential for initiating the transaction. You can accept to the terms and conditions and click setup now. Once you click setup now, the account is successfully integrated in Zoho Books. As you can see, the account status of HSBC is now active. You can also add a bank account to fetch your HSBC bank statements in Zoho Books. For the same, you will have to click Add Account to fetch bank feeds. Select the account in which you want to bring in the statements and the from date from which you want to bring in the transactions. This from date is similar to the fetch date that you have provided, which we discussed in the earlier part of the session. So this from date has to be 90 days from the date of this integration. So you can click add and the account will be added. Now the account is being added. You can see that the feeds will be fetched into your bank account, and also you can verify your live account balance by clicking this view live account balance in the right side of your screen. Now the vendor's bank detail is added, the bank account is added, and an account to fetch your bank statement is also been added. Now what is the next step? To initiate payments to your vendors. So to initiate a payment to your vendor, you can go to the purchases module, go to the bills module, and let's say if you want to initiate an individual bill payment, you can click the particular bill and you will find the option pay via HSBC. You will have to click the pay via HSBC option. Select the bank account to which you are going to initiate the payment, that is your vendor's bank account. You can select the transaction type based on the transaction, which can be a NEFT or RTGS payment. You can also initiate a part payment to this vendor by entering the amount that is required. If you need to provide any description for this transaction, the same can also be provided. Once this is saved, you can click proceed. Now, as you can see, the system is asking you to enter the secret PIN which you have set up while integrating. Once you put up the secret PIN and click initiate payment, the payment will be initiated from Zoho Books. Now you can see that a payment is being recorded with the HSBC bank. You can also verify the payments that are made in the payments made tab. So you can see the status of the payments also as uncleared or cleared. So uncleared transactions are basically transactions which are initiated from your end and it is yet to be deposited in the vendor's bank account. Once it is successfully deposited, the transactions status will be changed into cleared. Now let's say you want to initiate a multiple bill payment of the same vendor. For the same, you can click the respective bills of the vendor, click pay via HSBC and initiate the payment. Again here you can initiate a part payment as well. Enter the amount against each bill and then click initiate payment. The same can also be done from the payments made module. All you have to do is click plus new, select the vendor, enter the amount that you want to initiate a payment for and choose the option is initiate payment via HSBC. Select the from account which is your bank account and the to account which is your vendor's bank account. Select the transaction type and the amount that you want to record against each bill. And click initiate payment. Enter the secret PIN. Now a bulk payment is also being initiated for those bills. Let's say you are making an advance payment to a vendor. We can also initiate that from Zoho Books directly. All you have to do is you can go to the payments made module, click plus new and click vendor advance. Choose the particular vendor. Click initiate payment via HSBC and enter the amount that you are going to pay it as an advance. The from account, that is your bank account, and the to account, your vendor's bank account. The transaction type and the description if required and click initiate payment. So far we have seen how to initiate an individual bill payment, a bulk payment for the same vendor and a vendor advance for the same vendor. Now let's say you want to initiate a payment for multiple bills of different vendors. So that can be done from the purchases bills module directly. All you have to do is select the bills of different vendors and click pay via HSBC. As you can see, the transaction details are reflected for each vendor separately. You can enter the from account and enter the amount that you're going to pay against each bill of different vendors. Now you can see that the total amount that has been applied in this payment is the payment in the right side corner of your screen. Once you verify it, you can click initiate payment, enter the secret pin again and click initiate payment. So the payments are successfully initiated from Zoho Books. Zoho Books also provides you a feature to initiate tax payments which will be done during the GST filing of your organization. So to initiate a tax payment, you will have to go to the GST filing module in the left side of your screen, click GST payments and click pay via HSBC. You will have to fill in the details based on the challan generated in the portal and then click proceed to pay. The payment will be initiated from Zoho Books as we have seen earlier once the secret pin has been provided. So now we have seen the HSBC integration, the different ways of initiating the payment and the types of payment that are supported in the HSBC bank. Now let's see a quick run through of how the other bank accounts which we have listed earlier can be integrated in your Zoho Books for initiating payments. So first we'll see the ICICI bank account. So you'll have to go to the settings and under online payments you will find the vendor payment section and you will find the ICICI bank listed there. You'll have to click the setup now button and you will be asked to enter the CIB portal login ID, the corporate ID and the user ID. Once you provide these details, you will be asked to authenticate this integration in your CIB portal end. So you will have to click this approve in ICICI Bank CIB portal and you will be redirected to the bank end. So once you authenticate this integration, you can see the account status changing from pending to active. Now the next step is to add a bank account to initiate a payment. So you'll have to click select an account to start making payments and then you can also select a bank account to fetch in your bank feeds. With this, the ICICI bank account is successfully integrated and the payment initiation is quite similar to how we have discussed for the HSBC bank. So the next integration would be the S-Bank integration. So there are certain prerequisites for an integration of an S-Bank in Zoho Books. So you should have a current account in Zoho Books and this bank account should be registered for API banking in your net banking end. So there will be a two-part password which will be provided from the S-Bank end, which is essential for this integration. So your Zoho account has to be enabled for this multi-factor authentication to provide an added authenticity. So to integrate an S-Bank, you will have to click setup now against the S-Bank and you can see the customer ID and the first half, second half passwords. All these details will be provided to you from the net banking end. Here also, as we have seen in the HSBC bank end, you will have to provide a secret PIN. So this secret PIN is essential for initiating the payment. And regarding the S Bank, you will also have to provide the live balance of your bank account manually. And this bank balance should exactly match with your actual bank balance for this integration to be successful. So once you click setup now after filling the details, the S-Bank integration is activated in your Zoho Books. Next, we can see how a Standard Chartered account can be integrated. You will have to click setup now against Standard Chartered. You will be asked to enter your organization details and the contact details of this particular bank account. Once you hit save, the bank end of your Standard Chartered will be providing you an RM token. So this is a number which will be provided from the bank end. Once this number is added in your integration setup page, the integration for SCB will be successful and you can start initiating your payments from Zoho Books. So next bank would be the Kotak Mahindra Bank. From Kotak Mahindra Bank, you can view in your live account balance and fetch your bank statements automatically. However, payment initiation is currently not possible from the Kotak Mahindra Bank. So to integrate a Kotak Bank, you will have to click setup now against the Kotak Mahindra Bank, accept to the terms and conditions, and once you click setup now, you will be redirected to the KMB portal end. You will have to authenticate this integration in the KMB portal end. So as you see, this integration is subjected to expire every 30 days. So you will have to re-authenticate this integration every 30 days to continue fetching your bank statements into your Zoho Books. Let's see a quick walkthrough of what are the payments that are supported under each banks. So First thing is the individual bill payments for vendors, which is supported in all 4 banks, that is ICICI, HSBC, Standard Chartered and S Bank. The bulk payments of same vendors can be initiated from ICICI, HSBC, Standard Chartered and S Bank. However, if you want to initiate bulk payments for different vendors at the same time, the same is supported only in HSBC and Standard Chartered. And to initiate advance payments, you will have to have an account under ICICI, HSBC, Standard Chartered or S Bank. And the tax payments can also be initiated using the ICICI Bank or the HSBC Bank. And you can also initiate cross-border payments. That is, if your vendor is from a different country and the bill is of a different currency, you can initiate a payment using the HSBC Bank and the Standard Chartered Bank. For HSBC, currently the cross-border payments are in early access. You can contact our team to get them enabled to initiate cross-border payments. So next, you can see a simplification of all the details that we have discussed so far. That is, the modes of payment that are supported under each bank and in which module the same can be initiated from. For example, as we have discussed earlier, multiple bills of different vendors can be initiated at the same time only for the HSBC Bank and the Standard Chartered Bank. For the other banks, you cannot initiate a multiple bill payment of different vendors at the same time. And for multiple bills of same vendor, we have seen how to initiate payment from both the bills module and also from the payments made module. However, for ICICI and S Bank, you can initiate a multiple bill payment only from the purchases payments made module. Next, you can see another simplification of the types of payments that are supported for each bank and the approval workflow for the integrations and whether the integration is user level or organization level. For example, the HSBC Bank, the cross-border payments are in early access, which I have discussed earlier. And for the other banks, S Bank and ICICI, currently cross-border payments are not supported. And for Standard Chartered Bank, you can initiate cross-border payments. And you can also see various transaction types based on the payment that you are initiating, like NEFT, RTGS and ZAC for cross-border payments. And the approval workflow is a mandatory one in HSBC and Standard Chartered Bank. For ICICI, it depends on who is initiating the payment. That is, let's say in your organizations there are 2 users, A and B, and A has integrated ICICI Bank in your Zoho Books. But what if B wants to initiate payment from Zoho Books? In that case, the payment that has been initiated by B has to be authenticated directly in the ICICI net banking portal end. Next, you can see the last column, that is the integration level. So what is user level and organization level? Let us consider that I am integrating my bank account in my Zoho Books and there are also other users in my organization who want to initiate the payment. Now, you can see that HSBC, S Bank, ICICI and Kotak are user level integrations. So for the first 3 banks, I have integrated the bank account in my Zoho Books and only I will be able to make payments from those bank accounts. The other users in my organization will not be able to initiate payments. And for Kotak, the other users will not be able to initiate a refresh for their bank feeds fetching account. However, for the Standard Chartered Bank, as you have seen in the integration page, the Standard Chartered Bank allows you to select the list of users whom you want to initiate payments from Zoho Books. And that is why it's mentioned as an organization level integration. So next part of this webinar would be disabling these integrations. So disabling of bank accounts is quite simple. You will have to go to your settings, click vendor payments, and you can see the disable button for each bank accounts that are integrated. All you have to click is disable and then you can click I understand disable my integration and the bank account will be disintegrated. The disabling process is also quite similar for the other bank accounts which we have discussed earlier. ICICI can be integrated in various finance applications like Zoho Books, Zoho Payroll, Zoho Expense, etc. And if I'm disabling this integration in Zoho Books, this will automatically disable the integration in other Zoho finance applications as well. And if any of the user who is integrating this bank account is been removed or made inactive in your organization, then the ICICI integration will also be deleted. And with this, we have come to an end of this webinar. I hope you find this webinar useful. I also encourage you to take advantage of this connected banking features in Zoho Books and experience the efficiency it provides. So if you have any further questions or would like to explore Zoho Books in more detail, please do not hesitate to reach out to our support team. And we provide multiple language supports. If you need assistance in Zoho Books on any product related queries, you can reach out in your native language and get assistance from our team. Thank you everyone for joining today. Have a great day.